If you would have told me decades ago that in the future I'd be able to buy a game for only $15 and be flying around a hovercraft vehicle in virtual reality, in 3D, in a cel-shaded world, I'd think you were crazy, but here we are. This is another one of those underrated hidden gem VR games that not too many people talk about. This style of visuals really makes the colors pop on the PSVR2 OLEDs, and according to the PSN description, your mission is to explore planet Retronika, a once thriving world that is now turned hostile. Now, we've been promised flying cars and hovercraft vehicles pretty much since Back to the Future, so let me tell you, it's about time, but now's your chance. If you like arcadey action games, you like flying, you like shooting, you like upgrading things like your bike and your weapons, you're probably really gonna like this game, but there's a few things we're gonna have to talk about first. So let's review this game and get to it.
The highly seasoned gamer VR.
Alright, let's check this game out.
Danger! Traffic drones up ahead! Let's show them who's running this show!
Now, if you like immersive motion control similar to V-Rider, the motorcycle game, this game defaults to a virtual handlebar. Unfortunately, I don't really like that, so I was really glad to find that there's another option for controls. Now, you can dual wield in this game, and you can choose either hand to drive or shoot with, but generally how I play is I put on the analog controls, which allows me to steer with the analog stick, but I'm still having to hold on and grip the left handlebar to be able to move. And then I usually use my right hand to grab whatever gun I want to use because I'm right-handed, and that just feels good that way. You can brake, but generally I just let go of the gas instead when I need to slow down. When you see enemies, you kind of want to slow down and take care of them right away before things get too crazy. There is a story and there's different types of missions, so sometimes you're just trying to reach a checkpoint, almost like a race, like Outrun, get to the end as quickly as you can without getting hurt, dodging traffic. Other times you're shooting things, but there's even a free flight mode if you want, where you can just put on music and just cruise around. You'll be bored pretty quick, but you can choose the environment, the weather. There's only 3 different city areas to pick from, but there's rain and there's snow and there's night and day and stuff like that. So at least the visuals look a little different depending on what stage you're on, which is nice. My only complaint is most flying games, you want to go up when you're hitting down and down when you're going up. But this game doesn't have the option to reverse it. So up is up and down is down. And if that's going to throw you off, there's no settings to change that. So I have a friend that loves this game, but he struggles with that because he's used to flying where down is up and up is down. And I'm like that too, but I just got used to it. It doesn't bother me too much in this game. Now, that would be a pretty simple thing for them to patch and fix, but if for some reason you can't play flying games like that, then I guess you shouldn't buy it. Of course, you can play this game room scale or standing, but it feels best to just sit in a chair like you're sitting on a motorcycle. In a little bit, I'll show you how you can do upgrades on your weapons and on your bike, and it's pretty significant. It's definitely polished and very pretty to look at, especially if you like sci-fi stories and kind of sci-fi environments. You see those yellow square zones that I'm trying to fly through? That's how you keep your energy up. You have to stay within those zones, so you're always flying straight. The good news is there's multiple difficulty settings, so if you want the game to be really easy, medium, or super hard, you can definitely challenge yourself. If you've already beaten the game 10 times and you find yourself wanting to come back, there's an endless mode, which is actually very good, like an endless runner, where you have to compete with the leaderboards and see how long you can last. And there's leaderboards on every individual stage as well, which is pretty nice. And when you do complete a stage, you'll either get 1, 2, or 3 stars. There's even a global top 10 list. Hey, will you get out of my way? I'm trying to see the damn board. Number 7, if you can peek behind him, is actually Brian from PSVR2 Without Parole. And hey, look, it's the Amiga Guru. You should check out his blog, by the way. It's really good. All right, we're going to go deep into the meat and potatoes of the game in a second here, but I'd say Retronika is really a pure adrenaline rush at its peak. The handling feels sharp and immediate, the visuals are very stylistic, and the game kind of keeps things exciting because it has a variety of missions and weapons that adds a little bit more depth to the main little gameplay loop. And there's flexible difficulty options, so it's easy to jump in no matter what your level of skill is. And it fully captures that dreamy, exhilarating fantasy of, tearing down through a lively, neon-soaked city on a hoverbike. I mean, it's the future and we're here, so we might as well enjoy it, right? Now, there are 50 actual missions built into the game, and like I said, they're all a little bit different. It might be like you need to destroy a certain amount of drones or whatever it might be. You'll gain currency after you beat each stage, but you only get a little bit, so you may have to play certain levels over and over again to get enough money to upgrade the handling and the speed the way that you want to. However, you're likely to get 1 or 2 stars and want to go back and try to get 3 stars anyway, so there you go. The combat and the flying does feel good, and the fact you can dual wield is pretty awesome. All right, let's talk about the boring but important stuff. Let's take a look. So the Infinity Run mode is what I was talking about before. That's kind of the endless runner mode. Everything is randomized and you'll just have to survive as long as you can, and you'll collect rewards along the way. The story campaign itself is just laid out in a big row of 50 missions, and you can go back and forth and redo missions if you want. But, you can see there's a whole bunch I did not get 3 stars on. Maybe I want to try to outdo my score, that kind of thing. But what I'm really glad about is they put a freestyle mode in, which allows you to adjust the type of traffic that you want, the location, the weather. You can add reverse traffic, and you can even make it a bunch of chaos and crazy if you want to. Or you can just make it a no enemies at all and just becomes free flight. I keep begging the company at V-Rider to add analog controls like V-Racer has, and thankfully this game has it too. But like I said, it defaults to motion-based handlebar controls. You can change the language, the difficulty. You can even disable the story completely, and you can choose between seating and standing and adjust your height and all that good stuff. I just really wish you can reverse down from up and up from down, but there's also sound settings, sound effects, music. You can adjust all that. I've got quite a few hours in this game, but I have not unlocked all the different guns yet because, like I said, it does take time, and there is a big difference between them. So it is fun to try to find what your favorite guns are, and you can choose one for your left hand and one for your right. When you do have enough currency to upgrade something, you just pay for it, hit upgrade, and you'll watch the bike get worked on. And you'll see the results to your right, for your bike itself and what you're at as far as max speed, acceleration, braking, things like that. You can also change the color of your bike. There's some cosmetic stuff, and you can also add other things too, like a defensive shield, and I believe even some missiles and rockets or something like that. I guess we have to talk about the audio just for a second. The sound effects are actually pretty good. All the shooting sounds and the explosions and the engines sound great to me, and there's not much I would say about it. Being a professional musician and everything, I'm always really picky with these indie games because they usually have terrible music, and I wouldn't say this one's terrible. It actually has some decent tracks that really go with the game. But I have the music shut off for this video, and most games like this, I end up shutting it off and turning on the Spotify app and PlayStation so I can blast whatever music I want, or instrumental synthwave, or whatever goes with the game, and obviously that usually ends up being a little bit better. So if you want to shoot things and fly around to everything from Britney Spears to Metallica to Beethoven, well, you're welcome to. Now, I don't know if this was made by just a solo dev or just a very small team, but I mean, that's what it seems like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Before I wrap this up and give it my quote-unquote review opinion, I have to say that it's definitely the kind of game that you have to give it a little time to get used to the controls and figure out what controls you even want to use. But once you do, you will feel like a complete badass because you're flying around like one-handed, almost like in Galaxy Kart when you're driving in one hand with the steering wheel and throwing items with the other. But it's really awesome, especially for the cheap price. You're not going to play this game for 7 hours straight every day. I mean, it's a little arcade game, but it's a perfect game to play for like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes at a time while you're in between games, or maybe you're trying to outdo a couple of your scores on some of the stages and just jump in every once in a while. Of course, I always try to beat and finish a game before I review it, but I'm pretty far in, and as you can see, I haven't finished the last few stages yet. There are actually a few boss fights and stuff, but since there's only really 3 different types of missions, although they do get harder, I've definitely played it enough to be able to give you my opinion on it. I'm sure by now, hopefully you have an idea of whether or not you would like the game. I would personally probably give it a 7.8. It's almost an 8, just not quite, mostly due to the fact that there's no control options to change up from down. If they would have that in there, I'd say it's a solid 8 for what it sets out to do, and the price is totally fair. I hope I helped you make a decision on another PSVR2 hidden gem, and until next time, I'll see you in VR.